Okay, let's kick this off. There's one name really buzzing around in football right now. You hear it everywhere.
You really do. It feels like he just burst onto the scene.
Lamine Yamal. He's 17, and just, wow, taking the whole football world by storm.
It's pretty incredible. I mean, at that age, most are just dreaming of getting a few minutes here and there. He's like central to Barcelona, Spain.
Yeah, and that's what we're diving into today. We've got this source material, an analysis really focusing on this almost wild question. Could Lamine Yamal actually win the 2025 Ballon d'Or?
Seems crazy to even ask, doesn't it?
Right. So our mission here for you listening is just to unpack what this source says. We're going through the key points, the arguments for and against, based only on this material, so you get the core picture of why he's even in this conversation.
Yeah, dissecting the case laid out in this analysis. What are the main pillars of his potential claim, according to the source?
Okay, so let's jump right into the case for Yamal. The source material is really clear about his 2024-2025 season. Calls it phenomenal.
Absolutely. It paints him as completely central to Barcelona's success this season. You know, they pulled off that domestic treble.
La Liga, Copa del Rey, Supercopa de España. The source highlights all three.
And it emphasizes Yamal wasn't just part of it. He was absolutely pivotal, is the term used, I think.
Yeah, and the stats the source provides really back that up, especially for someone his age. Let's see, 55 games for Barca across all competitions.
And out.
18 goals, 25 assists, just huge numbers.
Wow, and the source breaks it down further, right? La Liga specifically.
35 appearances in the league, 9 goals, 13 assists there.
Solid. And Champions League. They made the semi.
Yep, the source notes the run to the semifinals, 13 appearances for him, with 5 goals and 4 assists in that competition. So yeah, the sheer volume of goal involvement is a massive point in the analysis.
But it's not just the numbers, is it? The source makes that clear.
Exactly. It talks about his impact, his composure on the ball, the way he can apparently just change a game, deliver when the pressure's really on.
Which, at 17, is, well, it's the kind of thing the source stresses as being incredibly rare, that maturity.
Right, and it's that blend of the stats and that impact that the source suggests is leading to these comparisons with some of the all-time greats.
Which is massive praise.
And the analysis also throws in the records he's already breaking, like becoming the youngest player ever to play and score in the Euros for Spain.
So even beyond Barcelona, he's hitting these milestones that just feed into this narrative of like a generational talent emerging.
But okay, the Ballon d'Or, it's never simple. The source is quick to point out the competition. It's always fierce.
Never a one-horse race. So who does this analysis flag as the main rivals?
Well, it brings up some established names, superstars who've also had, fantastic seasons. Ousmane Dembélé is mentioned.
Oh, okay, with PSG.
Yeah, and the source adds that crucial context.
Okay.
If PSG win the Champions League, that would significantly boost his case. History shows that trophy matters a lot.
Makes sense. Who else?
Mohamed Salah. The source points to him being absolutely instrumental for Liverpool winning the Premier League. Plus, his consistent goal scoring. Always up there.
A perennial contender, really.
And then, this is interesting, the source highlights Yamal's own teammate, Rafinha.
Oh, right. Also had a great season for Barca.
Exactly. The analysis puts him in the mix, specifically noting that Rafinha actually scored more goals than Yamal in the Champions League for Barcelona this season.
That adds another layer. Makes him a genuine contender from the same winning team. Which
leads nicely into another section of the source material, the other factors that can influence the voting, beyond just the obvious stats and trophies.
Yeah, the sort of background dynamics.
Right, like the Champions League again. The source notes its historical weight. Reaching the semis is great for Barca and Yamal, but
not winning it. That potentially puts him slightly behind a candidate who did lift the trophy, maybe Dembélé. If PSG win it, that's how the source ranks it.
Then there's the whole youth thing. His age, 17.
Which is double-edged, right? The source seems to suggest it could cut both ways.
How so?
Well, on one hand, doing what he's done at 17 is why everyone's so amazed. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Makes the case stronger in a way.
Sure, the narrative.
But the analysis also suggests some voters might think, okay, he's brilliant, but he's only 17. He's got years, maybe decades ahead of him.
So they might lean towards someone perceived to be at their absolute peak right now.
Exactly. That's the dynamic the source highlights. It's a potential hurdle, this perception game.
And connecting back to Rafinha, the source brings up vote splitting.
Yeah. If you have two really strong candidates from the same dominant team.
The analysis suggests they could potentially cancel each other out. in a way. Split the vote among people leaning towards Barcelona players.
And that, the source says, has happened before. It could inadvertently open the door for someone else, like Salah or Dembélé.
It's that sort of political side of the voting the source thinks could be relevant.
Interesting. But let's step back from the hurdles for a second. The source also talks about the sheer historical weight if he did win.
Oh yeah, this is huge. The analysis really puts it in perspective. If Lamine Yamal wins the 2025 Ballon d'Or,
He'd be the youngest player ever to win it.
ever, by quite a margin too. The source mentions the current record holder.
Ronaldo Nazario, right. The original Ronaldo won it at 21.
Yep, Yamal winning at 17 would just smash that record. Completely unprecedented.
Which, according to the source, really underlines just how extraordinary his performance level is at this age.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, the amazing case for him, the really tough competition, these other influencing factors, what's the final word from the source? What's its verdict on his chances for 2025?
Well, the analysis concludes his case is incredibly strong. Can't argue with that. His individual skill, the pivotal role in that Barca treble, the just sheer excitement he brings, all massive plus points highlighted.
The source even mentions the betting odds, points out he's considered a favorite by some bookies. Around a 40% chance, it says.
Which is significant. But the analysis definitely stresses it's not a done deal. Far from it.
Competition's too tough.
Exactly. And the source reminds us that voter perceptions, all those factors we discussed, they always play a part. It's complex.
But the final thought in the source material is kind of looking ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite forward-looking. It basically says, look, Yamal has well and truly announced himself on the world stage. No question. And whether it happens in 2025 or maybe in a few years, the analysis suggests it just feels inevitable that the Ballon d'Or will one day be his.
So maybe 2025 is just the start of him being in this conversation seriously.
That seems to be the underlying feeling from the source. It's the beginning of his Ballon d'Or story, maybe not the final chapter this year.
So for you listening, this deep dive into the source really lays out why the 17-year-old is a genuine talking point for football's biggest individual prize. The talent, the achievements, they're undeniable based on this analysis.
But it also shows the other side, you know? The tough competition, the historical trends, the potential weirdness of voting. It's complicated.
And it leaves you with that big question the source implicitly raises. How much should potential and performance at age factor in? Is the Ballon d'Or purely about the best player this specific year, full stop? Or can that wow factor of youth play a legitimate role?
Or, yeah, thinking about Yamal and Rafinha, how do voters weigh up two stars from the same treble-winning team? Does one player's slightly better Champions League goal tally outweigh the other's overall assists? Or perhaps that youth narrative?
Lots to chew on there. Definitely gives you something to think about as we head towards the award season.